Hi and welcome to A DM with the Universe. I'm Laura.
And I'm Hayley.
And thank you for joining us on the couch today. Some of you may have noticed that A DM with the Universe podcast has been missing in action for a couple of weeks. Yeah. It was a plan once I'd got back from India to get another episode recorded in that fortnight, but the universe had different plans. You and I had different plans. Our husbands with their high need medical requirements at the moment. Different plans. You had visitors, I had visitors, we had Easter, school holidays, but here we are.
Yeah, when Laura went away for 3 weeks, that sort of sent me into a few rabbit holes about how to, launch successful podcasts and how to get traction. And I've researched a lot of this stuff 10 million times, but there's always more ways to confuse yourself. And so I did that quite successfully. And then Laura came home and I dumped that on her.
You did. You're like, I was just going to add that it was incredible to witness. I wasn't there for the check-ins that we have and you just run rampant and I get home. Yeah. You're like, so anyway, we got to do this. And I'm like, hi, let's integrate this 2 weeks that
I think I gave you 3 days.
Oh, my goodness. Anyway, but yes, we did have a really big conversation and we needed to. And in the meantime, we actually kept checking back in with the universe to see whether we were on the right path, because the personality that you and I share, once we commit to something, we really like to be successful and do it to the best of our ability, and we felt like we were letting ourselves down. But the universe gave us lots of support and encouragement to actually loosen up a little bit and loosen our timelines and our expectations on ourselves. And we did that completely and fully. And it was been beautiful, actually.
Yeah. I think it's really helped us come back to some of the insight that we received really early on before we even started the podcast. So it opened that back up again. And one of the main things that we were told that in doing this, that this is supposed to be joyful and fun and creative. And, that goes slightly against our perfectionist mindsets when you're trying to be joyful and fun and creative and controlling and what have you. So, yeah, it was a good opportunity for us to reset and come back to you now with potentially a different format. We're trying it out right now. You're our test bunnies, so let's see how it goes.
Yeah, one of the things that I found challenging whilst we were having a little bit of a season of separation was there was so much going on in the world, so many big things, and there was this FOMO that was happening, this big fear of missing out, that all of these world events were going on, and we were talking about them personally, but we just didn't have the space to record them, so we had to let that go.
Yeah, and that just inspired us to want to be able to react a little bit more. Having this pre-planned podcast didn't align with what we really want to do, which is feel the energy, bring it through, talk about current events. So hopefully that this new format will allow us to be a little bit more reactive, which is good. And one of the other big things that came through, which I definitely want to talk to, is about the word channeling. I follow a guy called Clif High, and if you haven't followed him before, he's on Substack. You'll find old bits and pieces across YouTube, but I love him. I think he's, 70-year-old man. He's highly intellectual. He probably grates on a lot of people if you don't really understand his backstory and what his whole premise is. But he's a really good balance for me and my husband because he's very woo, but he's also very analytical and scientific in his approach. So something we can share and stay on the same page with. But I noticed over the last maybe 6 months, he was talking about channeling and really anti-channeling. And I had to sit with that because I have a lot of respect for this man, but I'm also like, dude, that's sort of what I'm doing. But what it did do was also cement for me. I'd always had an issue with the label of channeling because I've never felt I channel something or a being or a specific energy. And that's sort of where his issue with channelers is that they become very attached to this entity that they apparently, not I won't say apparently, but that they are channeling. Which it was good because and this happened again while Laura was away. So one of my other rabbit holes I went down. But it was really good for me to get clear with myself that I don't want what we do to be seen as channeling. because that really separates it out from who we are and the information that's available to us. And I think what that stream of consciousness, that stream of information and energy is available to everyone. It's about opening up to that. And I don't want it to become, oh, only certain people get access to these certain beings or these certain entities that have that. And it's not how I see it. I've never felt that way. Yes, occasionally I will have an energies come forward that labels itself X, Y, or Z, but in those moments, it does feel more like an intentional energy for a specific reason. And there's a different flow to that information that's coming through. But ultimately, that's one of the premises of changing, moving format or talking about this now, is that we're going to be calling it conscious communication. And it really is just connecting in with the stream of consciousness and bringing through collective inspiration or higher source inspiration. It doesn't need to really be labeled as such. It's what exists around us in the ether that we can attune to. So, yeah, I think that's really important for me particularly, to help people understand, because potentially the change of this format is going to highlight that a bit more.
It will. And I think, just to reiterate that a little bit more, what you had said, that we all have access to it, it actually comes back to practice. Yeah. And I see that within myself all the time. I'm like, I can't paint, I can't draw, I can't whatever. And then when you really sit with yourself, it's like, well, it's really easy. There's a great explanation for that. I haven't practiced. I haven't had lessons. Yeah. I don't dedicate half an hour a day to learning to draw. We've got a really beautiful baby grand piano here, and we've lived in this house for 11 and a half years. 11 years ago, I promised myself that I would learn, because look at my fingers. I've got piano fingers. I promised myself that I would learn piano. I haven't at all. But then, I'd constantly pick myself up because I can't play the piano. I haven't dedicated any time to it. So conscious communication.
Why do you expect any different?
Exactly. It's exactly like that. So you do have to practice it. It's not a skill set that's usually not a skill set that just drops in. It takes commitment, time, practice.
Yep. And that it just feels so much more aligned to who I am and how I feel about what is available to us, and what tools are going to be turning on for all of us as we move forward in this shifting age. So, it was to take away that barrier, which I can thank Clif High for, even though I was sort of like angsty with him at the same time, going, hey.
Okay, so that will be a beautiful challenge that you've set me moving forward, is to then catch myself if I do say channeling, because it's a very ingrained word that we do use, and trying to.
And anyone else that's got another word or a suggestion, go for it.
Yeah. So that being said, Hayley, did you want to explain what the new structure is going to look like? We're trialing it. Who knows how long it's going to last? We might pivot again in 3 months.
That's right. So, there's no predetermined channeling like that we had brought through before, which was all written and then we were, explaining that. This is going to be done in the moment. Laura will still trigger questions at this point for me to connect into an answer. So that can just look like us having a normal conversation, but that's not this direct flow of source information, this direct flow of consciousness. There'll be moments where that drops in. Now that could be that I may physically, if you're watching, I may close my eyes. There may be a change in my voice. They're probably going to be the main triggers for you, just a different cadence to what's spoken, or even a different sound to my voice. And that may flip in and out, in and out, in and out. But this is the whole premise. It's not about I'm going to step in and connect to a being and I'm going to step out and connect to myself. This is just opening up to a stream of energy that is around us, to tap into the little nuggets in there and bring those through. And then we can have a conversation about those.
Yeah. Yep. And hopefully the universe will lead us in a direction that we actually can't preempt, can we?
No, which is really good.
And Hayley's like, don't tell me any questions. I don't want to know. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know. I don't. So I've just been left to my own devices, and I've only started with a couple of questions as well. And then I'm really going to test my active listening skills and my concentration and my ability to remember questions to then ask for further guidance. So this is new territory for both of us. Absolutely not practiced before at all. So it may be a little bit clunky. We might nail it. We may not. Who knows? But please bear with us, particularly if if it feels a little bit clunky, or if I have to go, hang on, just let me process that and I'll come up with a question. One thing I do want to point out, I'm sure most people that are listening to, like our audience, I can feel they're very open, spiritually aligned people, but I have noticed that Hayley does a lot of rocking and moving when she is really truly connected in. I'm used to it. I'm pretty sure it did freak me out a little bit the first time I noticed what she does. Hayley, did you want to explain why you do a lot of movement?
It's involuntary. It's not something that I do intentionally to try and get into a space. It just happens, and for me, it's relating to the flow of energy that's going on in my field. So it happens when I meditate. It's not just when I'm speaking, what I'm receiving. So yeah, and I think it's really, we can go into this another time, but allowing your body to move when you meditate. So another little tip is a really important thing for a lot of people when you first get taught to meditate. It's like, sit like this, lay like this, don't move this, have your hands up in mudra. Like, seriously, it doesn't require a specific recipe to be able to meditate, and you do not have to sit in any direct way, and you can move. You can open your eyes during meditation, you can close your eyes a bit later. Like, you can do whatever the hell you like. But I find that since I really sort of let go of all the things that I was supposed to be doing, my body does move a lot, and often I'll find myself rocking in infinity, that sort of shape. So it just really helps me connect in with the energy.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I'm not crazy, because it does look like I'm rocking back and forward like a psycho.
According to
I am. I know. It's not helping my freaking cause.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Anyone's got any other questions that they would like to ask Hayley and receive that direct message back from the universe? You know how to get in contact with us. Please like and share and subscribe. We really love coming to you. This is something that we've committed to. We really, really, really want to continue to do this work. And we'd love to get that feedback from you. And perhaps if you know anyone else that's needing this kind of guidance, send on the video, and we would be eternally grateful for that.
We would, definitely.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And
until next time,
we'll see you then.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.